Tonight from Fenway, the Red Sox launch a 10-game homestand, and it starts with the co-leaders in the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles, in town for the first three. The Red Sox and the Orioles are locked in a first-place tie through the first 62 games. There are 100 games remaining in the 2016 season going into tonight. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Fenway. Great to have you with us. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner, Jerry Remy, and Gary Streisky will be joining us from the field in just a couple of moments. And, Rem, certainly the last time these two teams met, it was like a personal playground down there at Camden Yards for Mookie Betts. He was amazing.
Right, he was the star of the series. There's no question about that. 5 home runs in the series for Mookie Betts against the Baltimore Orioles last time they were in Camden Yards in Baltimore. And Mookie was hitting him all over the ballpark. Straightaway center field, pulling the ball, going to the opposite field. Just an incredible show put on by Betts. And when you look at the tail of the tape of both clubs throughout that series, it was pretty amazing. A 2-2 record splitting the series. Look at the average for the Red Sox. 316 against Baltimore pitching, 267 for Baltimore. 29 runs scored. That was a dead tie. The Red Sox had 13 home runs, and the Orioles had 7 in one game in that series. And the Oriole bullpen was a little bit better than the Red Sox bullpen. So that's kind of what you expect when you get the top two teams in the division going against each other. It should be that exciting in this 3-game series from Fenway Park. When you look at the Orioles, Dave, you look at a team that scores run with home runs. I mean, they score a lot of runs with home runs, and that's the way they play the game. They don't sacrifice very much. They don't steal very much. They hit the long ball.
So it brings us right into the pitcher's duel tonight, right?
Yeah.
David Price against Chris Tillman should be a good one tonight. Really, the two aces of the staffs will go toe-to-toe here in Game 1. We're looking forward to that big series, Red Sox and the Orioles, and Game 1 is right around the corner. You by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. The 2017 Kia Sportage. Visit anykiadealers.com to learn more. DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. By Mazda, driving matters. Digital Federal Credit Union, see what DCU can save you. By your New England Ford dealers, Ford, go further. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Beautiful night here for Game 1 at Fenway Park. Dave O'Brien, delighted to bring in Gary Streisky at field level. And Gary, somebody on that Oriole team with a big name really loves the Red Sox young stars.
Yeah, Obi, honestly, what's not to love? But let me describe said player. A handful of all-stars, a handful of gold gloves, and oh yeah, a silver slugger award. Unfortunately, that's not anybody in the Red Sox outfield just yet, but it is Adam Jones, Orioles center fielder. And if there's one thing he does recognize, it's outfield talent, and Jones recognizes that the Red Sox outfield has a ton of it.
Just let these young dudes, just let them flourish, let them blossom. They got so much to offer this game, and I just want to see them just continue to get better and better. Me as a veteran guy, to them young dudes, my advice to them is just stay on the grind, stay level-headed, and just relish this opportunity that you're getting and continue to get better and better.
Jones and his Orioles in Boston for a battle for first place against the Red Sox. We're going to have baseball in Boston, though. A piece of Boston with the victims and the families of the Orlando shooting, flying the LGBT community flag at half-staff, along with the American flag throughout tonight's game. First pitch coming up.
USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. Subaru Retailers of New England. By Hair Cuttery, smart looks, smart prices. And by Citizens Bank. Visit citizensbank.com. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien with you. Beautiful night here in Boston as the Red Sox begin this 10-game homestand and do it against the also first place Baltimore Orioles. Since the close of play April 6th, no team other than the Sox or the Orioles has held at least a share of first place in the American League East. So, Jerry, we've become very familiar with each other.
They certainly have, and that was evident in that last series we played down in Baltimore. The Red Sox and Orioles all tied at 36 and 26 on the season. Toronto winning today, so they're 2.5 games back, I should say, coming into tonight's action. And they're playing very good baseball, the Yankees and then Tampa Bay. And as they go with the lineup cards and the ground rules, we get ready for baseball and a nice long homestand here at Fenway Park.
Yeah, it'd be nice to settle in, actually unpack the suitcase for a while. Baltimore has been in first place for 39 days since opening day. The Sox for 16 days, and they have been tied for 14 days. As 6'5" David Price brings the Red Sox out onto the diamond. We take a look at the Oriole lineup he's facing tonight. It's brought to you by New England Chevy dealers. We just heard from Adam Jones some very classy comments about the Red Sox young outfielders. Joey Rickard is in right. Manny Machado at short with Chris Davis at first. He's very hot with a home run ball. So is Mark Trumbo, who's hit 20. Matt Wieters the catcher. Jonathan Scope at second base. Nolan Reimold at left. And Ryan Flaherty, the Maynard, is at third base, batting ninth against Price. He comes in at 7-3 with a .463 earned run average.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and they are 5th in the league with 31 errors in 62 games. Travis Shaw will be at third base, and Bogart's the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia at second, Hanley Ramirez the first baseman. Left to right, Chris Young, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts, and Christian Vasquez doing the catching for David Price.
Tonight's umpires on a blustery night are brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. It'll be Marty Foster behind the plate, Mark Wegner at first base, Mike Muchlinski at second base, and the veteran Mike Winters is at third base. And where available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory back Toyota Certified used vehicle right now.
Buenas noches, amigos.
It is windy, as we pointed out. Right now, 14 miles an hour out to right field, but really comfortable in the ballpark. It's 77 and lots of sunshine. And set for game number 1. Price coming in, looking for his 8th win. He said after his last start in San Francisco on Wednesday, it was the best he has felt all season. That was the good news. Bad news is he lost the game 2-1.
Yeah, the last couple of games have been tough luck for David Price. Against Toronto, San Francisco, he's lost those games 3-1 and 2-1. The Red Sox offense haven't been able to provide him any runs when he's pitched very, very well.
He'll be taking on Jones, Rickert, and Machado for an Oriole team that has lost 3 consecutive games, all to Toronto over the weekend. And Price's first pitch on a pretty night. Pop foul out of play, and we're underway.
This is 2 real good offensive ball clubs going at each other. You see the numbers for Adam Jones so far on the season, but well, we saw that series down in Baltimore, and 2 exciting offenses. There's no question about that.
Yeah, baseball is just flying out of Camden Yards all through that series. Jones, a .238 hitter. He's hit 11 home runs and a cut and a miss.
Good cut fastball there from Price as he goes down and in and off the strike zone to Adam Jones.
Price looking for the first K of the night. He has Jones in the hole, and the 0-2 pitch.
Wants the changeup.
And he buried it. Yep, 86 miles an hour.
There's the changeup grip, as you can see right there from David Price, and just overthrowing the pitch a little bit on the 0-2 count. Actually, his third choice, it was a cut fastball, and then he went to the changeup. Now back inside with the fastball.
And the 1-2. Foul tipped into the mitt and held by Vasquez for the strikeout. He got him for out number 1.
That's a good follow-up pitch. You know, he threw that changeup down. He overthrew it down in the dirt. Then he goes upstairs with the fastball. I don't think it was supposed to be in that location, but it was certainly effective. He elevates and gets Jones to chase the high fastball.
So Price gets his first man. That'll send up Joey Rickert, who's in right field, hitting .251 with 5 home runs, and he'll take ball 1. He had a great spring training. That's how he made the ball club, hitting .397 in the Grapefruit League. He was selected as a Rule 5 draft pick from Tampa Bay, and he's a guy that Buck Showalter really likes. Towards center field, coming on Bradley, and it'll drop in for a base hit. So Rickert is aboard quickly here with 1 down.
Yeah, sometimes in the outfield, especially center field, it's very difficult to see if the ball's toward the end of the bat. And that time, Jackie Bradley Jr. thinking he may have a chance at it, but the ball's going to just die in front of him. And at this stage of the ball game, why take the chance right there of having the ball get by you and playing it into a man in scoring position? He plays it into a single, keeps a double play in order.
We'll see if Manny Machado will oblige. He's hitting .308 with 16 homers, 39 runs batted in, having an outstanding season. He's kind of beaten up on the Sox too. .367 against Boston pitching. 1 out, 1 on, and he hammers that one line toward the pesky pole. That's down the line, and that ball is gone. That is a 2-run homer inside the pesky pole to make it 2-0, and they're off to the races again with the home run ball. Number 17 for Machado.
Now there's a case where Machado just gets a fastball away, and he'll take it to the opposite field. And of course, at friendly Fenway down that right field line, it doesn't take much to get it out of the ballpark. You'll see it go in front of the foul pole right there, which tells you it's a fair ball, and no questions asked.
That is their 100th home run of the season. They hit a ton of them. Number 1 in the American League in home runs. Sox have hit 77. And on that topic, here's Chris Davis. He's been doing nothing but mashing lately. He's hit 16 home runs, and 5 of them in his last 5 games. Jerry, Earl Weaver would love this Oriole team.
Now, this is like an Earl Weaver ball club, isn't it? Play for the 3-run home run.
The guy on deck, Trumbo, is hit 20. He's number 1 in the American League. Davis with 10 RBIs and 5 homers in his last 5 games. When we saw him down in Baltimore, he was not very hot at that point. Red Sox kind of wrapped him up. That is in there for strike 3. Well, he does that frequently. He strikes out a lot. Down he goes, and they're 2 away.
Now, this is the second start that Price has made this year against the Orioles. In his first start, he got hit pretty hard. 5 earned runs in 5 innings, but he did have 8 strikeouts. He's got 2 here in the first inning, but has allowed the home run. Fastball there in a nasty location outside part of the plate. Picks up his second strikeout of the inning.
That'll send up Trumbo, who's been in a lot of trouble. Takes a big swing. 286, 20 homers, 49 driven in.
It's something, Dave, you don't see very often. You know, a shift on a right-handed hitter. The Red Sox have 3 guys on that left side, and they pull Hanley way over halfway between first and second. Any ground ball to the left side, they got to give Ramirez time to get to first base.
2 down, 2-0 the Birds. Trumbo with very good numbers against Price. 364, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 8 out of 22. Well, the early couple of innings and a lot of his starts at Fenway have been difficult for Price. Finds himself in a hole again. 1-2.
Second time this inning when the count, no balls and 2 strikes. He's going to a changeup. That time missing down again to Trumbo.
Price is 4-1 at Fenway, but with an ERA of 5.61 when he pitches at home.
And a double up on the changeup.
Little dribbler, and Price will handle that. Underhand toss to Hanley to retire the side, but he also gives up a 2-run homer. Red Sox will swing away. It'll be Betts, Pedroia, Bogarts when we come back. From 2-0 on a home run. Here's the Red Sox lineup brought to you by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Mookie Betts will be followed by Dustin Pedroia and Xander Bogaerts, the league's top hitter. And then David Ortiz, Hanley Ramirez, and Jackie Bradley. Chris Young has been red hot with a bat. Travis Shaw has not been. Vasquez is the catcher and number 9 hitter against right-hander Chris Tillman. He is 8-1, a 3.01 ERA. The ace of their staff has not lost since the 14th of April. He's 7-0 over that span. ERA over that span of wins at 2.62, and he's coming off maybe his best start all year against Kansas City on Wednesday. He went 7 1/3, no runs, no walks. He struck out 9. And a 1-0 is popped up foul back out of play by Mookie.
Yeah, he's always been tough against the Red Sox too. In his career, 9-3 against Boston and an ERA of 2.84. He was 2-0 last year. This is the first time he's faced the Red Sox this season.
Sox coming off a 3-2 road trip to San Francisco and Minnesota. Both of the losses were very winnable games as Mookie takes a ball outside. A 2-1 loss in San Francisco, in which the Sox had a tying run at second base and nobody out in the 9th inning. Could not get him in. And then Sunday's extra inning loss to the Twins, in which errors and a botched bunt kind of sealed the Sox fate. 2-1 popped up and playable. Here comes Davis, the first baseman, and a foul ground.
The Orioles defense is brought to you by DraftKings. They are 11th in the American League with 37 errors in 62 games. Ryan Flaherty would be at third base. Manny Machado, the shortstop. Jonathan Scope at second. Chris Davis, the first baseman, left to right. Nolan Rimo, Adam Jones, and Joey Rickett. And Matt Wheat is doing the catching for Tillman.
Pedroia stepping in. He's always hit well against Baltimore. 326 lifetime. For the year, hitting .311. Petey just had a 16-game hitting streak come to an end on Saturday. Xander Bogaerts on deck. He's coming off some series in Minnesota. Line toward right field and dipping down for a base hit. Dustin Pedroia with his first hit of the ball game. He is on in front of Xander.
That came into the game a .268 career hitter against Tillman. He takes this ball to the opposite field. You know, Dave, I think that we've seen Dustin go to the opposite field more this year to this point than we did of all of last season. And you can see where the outfield's playing. They're playing that pinch outfield where the left fielder and right fielder are very close to the center fielder. They do it all the time here at Fenway Park.
I think you're exactly right. Not looking to pull nearly as much.
No.
And it's paying off with a very healthy batting average. He's making a run at an all-star berth. Xander Bogaerts is #1 at his position in the all-star voting. The 3rd round was announced today. .359 with 8 homers, 44 runs batted in. A top vote getter at shortstop in the American League at the moment. Just had a tremendous offensive series in Minnesota, going 10 for 15 in the 3 games. Sunday was a rough one with the glove for him as he made 2 errors, leading to 3 Minnesota runs. Really out of character for him. These cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Red Sox ranks in the all-star voting right now. David Ortiz and Xander Bogaerts are first at their positions. Jackie Bradley has moved up to a #2 slot there. Pedroia 4th. How about Blake Swihart getting in the top 5? Unfortunately out with that ankle injury. Tillman real deliberate with a man on base. Orioles in front 2-0 in the first, and that's on the corner.
Yeah, no fastball for Bogaerts on the 2-0 count there. He goes to the slider to pick up the strike. There's the breaking ball that stays on the inside part of the plate, but in that situation most hitters are looking for the fastball.
Bogaerts with 94 hits, #1 in the majors. And a 2-1, he jerked that one and it missed badly. 3-1.
That's the second time Tillman has delivered a pitch and kind of had to look back at his landing spot. He's like he's slipping a little bit. You'll see the follow through here, and he kind of just rolls an ankle a bit as he checks the landing spot.
A good count for Xander. Ortiz on deck. Pedroia has a tiny lead at first base. And it's a strike over the inside corner. He had flipped the bat. Xander is actually kind of apologizing to Foster, the umpire, but that pitch was inside.
Yeah, that's one thing umpires don't like to see, you know, when the hitter calls ball 4. But in this case, it seems to be justified. That ball was inside, and it surprised Bogaerts, I think, completely when it was called a strike.
I love his manners, but he didn't have to apologize because that missed.
It might save him a pitch later on in the game.
Yeah. Always mind your manners, right? Here's the 3-2. The runner goes. Hard ground ball scooped up by Machado. The second one on to first, and a double play. Hit sharply, but Machado equal to the task, and it's 2-0 Baltimore after 1. Well, Rockies start for Price. He gave up a 2-run homer in the first inning to Machado. Red Sox then hit into a double play. And so Price is right back out there again against Wieters, Scope, and Reimold. The Orioles have taken 4 out of 7 against the Sox head-to-head. So far in the year, they've actually outscored the Red Sox 53-38. They can really swing it. Price knows that firsthand when he faces Wieters, who is .319 against him. For the season, hitting .266 with 6 homers. And to lay off that one outside.
That's a tough pitch right there. No balls and 2 strikes. It's something the hitter has to think about because it's close enough to the outside part of the plate where it could be called a strike. But Wieters does stay off, and it is just a little bit outside.
1-2. He lunged for it. Here comes Xander Bogaerts to one-handed, and he flipped on to get him at first base. Held by Hanley. One man gone. Red Sox Nation, from now through the end of June, Aetna donates $500 to Boston Healthcare for the Homeless for every inning completed by a Sox starting pitcher at Fenway. Visit NESN.com for a running tally. Just another way Aetna is helping build healthier communities. One away, Jonathan Scope to get in at .268 with 9 home runs. They have good power out of their second baseman. We've seen Price touch 94 here in the early going, so that's a positive sign. He's thrown a lot of strikes. He's thrown 19 pitches at 15 for strikes. But Machado took one of them out of the ballpark. The 0-1. He's breaking out that changeup early on. He's been very fond of that this year. His last 6 starts, Price has posted a 2.55 ERA. That's more in line with David Price. 1-2. He has lowered his ERA over those 6 games from 6.75 to 4.63. So it's getting there. 1-2 and a high chopper. Bogarts on target for the second out.
That's interesting. I'm watching David Price pitch, and you know, we made a big deal earlier in the season how he changed his mechanics and he started to lift his hands up higher in a delivery to home plate. Well, tonight they're back down just slightly above the belt. So it's another adjustment, this time from going high to lower. I don't know if that's by design, but that's what he was doing earlier in the season. Then he changed it to go up higher, and now he's back down lower again.
Here's Reimold, the left fielder, checking in at 277 with 4 homers. He's coming off a 1-for-7 series in Toronto. It started out well for the Orioles. They won the first game, and then they dropped the next 3 there. And quickly 0-2.
As we were talking about, look at on the left-hand side how he changed, and he came up higher, up around his neck, the higher leg kick than what he had. The run on the right is earlier in the season. It looks like he's back closer to that right now. A little higher leg kick.
2-strike pitch. And could not get him to chase. So explain this to me. If he was having success making the change, why doesn't he stick with it?
You know, sometimes you do things without even knowing. Sometimes you do them on purpose. My gut tells me that he's doing this on purpose because he has pitched very well over the last couple of starts by doing that.
2-2.
That is something I'll have to investigate.
You know, the velocity is pretty good.
Yes.
With this slightly altered delivery. Of course, Pedroia was the guy who picked it out before. That had been much lower. The 2-2 fouled away into the netting. Reimold has some power. He was waived by both Toronto and Arizona in the same season in 2014 after 5 years with the Orioles. But Buck Showalter has his favorites, and he likes Reimold a lot. He also likes that guy Flaherty a great deal, who's on deck, and he brought him back to Baltimore. Well, that could have been a called strike. Instead of ball, and the count 3-2. Looked like a pretty good pitch.
Fastball upstairs running away. It did have part of the strike zone, it looked like, but not getting the call because you see where Vasquez is set up inside, and he has to reach across, and sometimes that gives the impression to the umpire it is not a strike.
3-2. Down he goes swinging. He could not hold up. Third strikeout for Price. His second inning a lot better than his first. 2-0 Baltimore. team batting average at home. The Red Sox are #1 here at Fenway at .301 over the Cleveland Indians, hitting .285. Sox are 14-5 at home since the 29th of April. Down here 2-0 to Tillman and the Orioles, and not one of the favorite guys for Big Papi to square off against. David 6 for 33. That's a 182 lifetime clip against Tillman. The 1-0. 2-0.
If we get a shot of the outfield, if we have a chance, you talk about pinch the outfield, and you see what I mean. You see where the left fielder and right fielder are playing with the center fielder. They are really close together, and it's like they give the Red Sox the lines here at Fenway Park. I think the thinking may be, let's take away 2 bases, guaranteed doubles. If they hit one down the line, it's probably going to be 3 bases anyway. But they really do pinch out there compared to most clubs that we see come in here, and even more than the Red Sox do in this ballpark.
See if Papi's taking here. He is, and that's a strike. He had started to dart toward first base.
You got a slider on the 3-0 count too, so Tillman thinking he had the green light. No fastball, 3 balls, no strikes. Breaking ball outside, but called a strike.
Big grin from David. Here's the 3-1. Fouled out of play. He took a big swing. It's obviously not going to happen on 3-2, but as Hanley waits on deck, at some point this season he's going to drop down a bunt, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it depends how his ankles and his legs feel.
Yeah. Right now, not great. There's been a bit on the Yankee side. The 3-2. Line shot and a hit down the line, maybe for extra bases. It will indeed. Up against that right field fence. He's into second base with a double.
That's exactly what we're talking about. The way they play the defense in the outfield. Now, it's only a double for Ortiz, but some other runner, it may be a triple. Now, you see the shift put on. Flaherty's in the outfield at second base, and the ball's going to get by him, and then it's Rickett that's going to really go a long way to charge this ball down. But they know with David running in this ballpark, even here, it's probably not going to be 3 bases. It's going to be a double. So Ortiz standing at second base with a leadoff 2-base hit.
Including tonight for Big Papi, 50 home games remaining. And that's it. Here's Hanley trying to pick him up. He has been scuffling. He did go 1 for 3 with a double on Sunday. And that was just his second hit of the road trip. He went 2 for 18. So he's been fighting it. Travis Shaw has been fighting it. But an opportunity to get on the board here in the second inning. 2-0 Baltimore. The 1-0. A good looking swing there, but he fouled it back on the fastball.
Yeah, I talked to John Farrell about Hanley's struggles, and he said that the last couple of games in Minnesota, he said he looked much better at the plate than he had earlier for a while. So we'll see if that continues on through this beginning of the homestand.
Tillman at 6'5", 200 pounds, and the 1-1. He went 16-7 back in 2013, really establishing himself. Won 13, pitched over 200 innings in 2014. Then a big step backward last year. 11-11, a 4.99 ERA. This year he's back to looking like an ace. Nobody out, and the 2-1. That'll miss. Jackie Bradley on deck. He's talking to Jackie down the clubhouse about him rising up in the all-star balloting. He didn't know anything about it. Right now he's second at his position, center field.
So he didn't care about his hitting streak. He didn't know what that was, and he doesn't know about all-star voting.
He's never been to San Diego, where the all-star game is going to be. 3-1, a strike.
not the kind of pitch Hanley wants to swing at on a 3-1 count. If you're looking for fastball, you're looking for the ball middle in. That ball's away, and it's not something you can, you got to probably drive out of the park on a 3-1 power count.
Well, he's not driven one out of a ballpark, any ballpark, since the 10th of May. Been a long time for Hanley. He's been sitting at 4 home runs since then. Here comes the 3-2 from Tillman. He checked, and it's down and away, and he walked him. So the Red Sox have something brewing here, first and second, as we check out what events are coming up at Foxwoods Resort Casino. Cedric the Entertainer on the 25th of June, the 29th through July 4th. Nick Walenda's Circus, and the 24th through the 28th of August, Chris Angel's Supernaturalists. And Jackie Bradley to dig in at 311, 10 homers, 43 runs batted in. Jackie in Minnesota drove in 5 runs in the 3-game series. Red Sox took 2 of the 3, but it was frustrating not to sweep. You felt that coming out of their clubhouse after the series. Even though they rallied, Jerry, to get back in that game on Sunday, had opportunities. Obviously, when you have Travis Shaw up there bunting, something he's not used to doing, that backfired right into a double play. Red Sox made some mistakes.
Yeah, probably the most frustrating game of the road trip for the Red Sox.
No doubt. 2 on, foul back. 0-2 now on Jackie. Big crowd on a beautiful night here at Fenway. The Orioles took a quick 2-0 lead on the Machado home run down the right field line. Sox trying to bounce back, and a chance here. Comes the 0-2 from Tillman. And in there for strike 3. He took it right on the black. They made a great pitch on him.
He certainly did. And when you're down 2 strikes like that, you've got to be very protective of the plate, because you hear me mention this all the time. You don't want to leave those close calls in the hands of the umpire. And that was a close one. That was a good pitch, a changeup in a perfect spot against Bradley.
How about that? An 0-2 changeup right on the edge of the plate. That's confidence in that pitch. Chris Young has been cooking. 299 now with 6 home runs. Hit another one on Sunday as he went 2 for 4 in Minnesota. First one is low for ball 1. Tillman with a fastball, curve, changeup, and a cutter. He's been leaning on that changeup here in the first couple of innings.
Right on cue. There it is, Dave. The changeup again at 84 miles an hour.
Ortiz at second after the double. Hanley at first base after the walk. And the 1-1. Flared foul out of play. Tillman's already gotten a double play ball in the first inning.
And he fouls up with a fastball at 93. He can get that fastball up there at 93, 94 miles an hour. And as I mentioned earlier, very tough always on the Red Sox. Here's the last pitch, the fastball that's going to be up in the zone just a little bit, but a pretty good pitch to hit.
Not every mistake is hit out of the ballpark, right?
No.
Young has been hitting him a long way lately. He fights that one off foul. Another fastball. On one of the biggest one-sided trades in recent baseball history, Tillman was dealt from Seattle to Baltimore in 2008, along with soon-to-be Gold Glove All-Star center fielder Adam Jones, for Eric Bedard. You remember that trade? One-sided as it gets, and that one is inside for a ball. Make it 2-2.
Yeah, certainly Baltimore remembers that trade because they got the real good end of that deal.
Sure did. Tech and low for Heathcliff Slocum. Another one that comes to mind. One-sided. Chris Young just stepped out of the box and sneezed as we look at the captain. Tonight is Jason Varitek bobblehead night. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Young. Red Sox trying to do something with the big right-hander out of Anaheim, California. Chopper foul. Young has belted 5 home runs in his last 9 games. And his home runs get out of the ballpark in a hurry. They're not those high, majestic blasts. They're line drives.
Yeah, a lot like Mookie Betts' home runs.
Yes. Yeah, very similar. I'd like to see a few of those here. Here comes a 2-2 pitch from Tillman. And down he goes hacking on the heater. So how about Tillman coming back with back-to-back Ks?
Yeah, first strikeout to Bradley was on a changeup on a nasty pitch down and away. This time it's the fastball. He challenges Chris Young and throws the fastball by him for the strikeout. So trying to get himself out of some early inning trouble.
Travis Shaw now scuffling along. He's down to 266. And he's in a June swoon. He's 5 for 38 this month. That is a 132 average. He's been a very different hitter at Fenway, though, hitting 307. So let's see how much that helps him tonight to be back home. And he'll look at strike 1. Ortiz still at second base. He doubled to begin the inning. Hanley took a walk right after that, but Jackie Bradley called out on strikes. Young swings and misses on strike 3. 1-1 to Shaw. Very tough road trip for Travis. He went 1 for 18 between San Francisco and Minnesota. In tight for a ball. There has been some talk about a platoon at third base if this continues for Travis Shaw, particularly his numbers against lefties. Facing a right-hander tonight. 2-2.
Notice the location of that fastball too. Again, it was upstairs, and you know that's what a lot of teams are doing to Travis Shaw right now. They're elevating the fastball, and when I say elevate, I mean above the belt, because Travis is a very good low ball fastball hitter.
Two out, 2 on, and a 2-2 to Shaw. He spoiled that pitch.
There it is again, though. You know, you see the fastball, the location up and away from Shaw. See on the pitch zone where the location of that pitch is, up and away.
And it's no mystery how they've been getting him out. Everyone following the same playbook in recent games against him. 2-2. High again, but this time for ball 3.
It's a game of, you know, learning, and we talked in the view from the booth today about how, you know, Travis is going through that process now where other teams have kind of figured out how to pitch to him, and so he's going to make the next adjustment.
The crowd eager for him to make it right now. Runners leading at first and second. He'll be on the move. Then the 3-2 pitch, and it is down and in, and he walked him. So that's going to fill up the bases for Vasquez. Red Sox fans, fill out your 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot right now at RedSox.com. You can vote up to 35 times, and a number of Red Sox players are in the hunt. So be sure to vote early and often at RedSox.com/vote. And an early chance here for the Red Sox, down 2-0. If Vasquez can deliver, he's hitting .220 with 1 home run. And he is a man at every base. Ortiz at third, Ramirez at second, and Shaw at first. And he'll take ball one. Tell you what, that high strike isn't really there tonight.
Not so far, and you don't see a lot of breaking balls, high breaking balls called strike. That was a high slider. Even though it was the top of the strike zone, very seldom is that called a strike. You see more high fastballs called strike than breaking balls.
One thing the Red Sox are doing, even if they don't score here, is driving up that pitch count. It's already at 42 for Tillman. And he hasn't gotten out of the second inning. Orioles in front 2-0, and the 1-0 pitch. And ball two. Now, the way he loves to throw that changeup, you're not guaranteed seeing a fastball here.
No, you're not. The only thing I would say that give me reason to believe that he may not throw the changeup. He's working to the number 9 hitter in the lineup, so we'll see how he goes about this with the count 2 balls, no strikes, and the bases loaded. My guess, he'll come right after Vasquez.
Mookie Betts on deck. No place to put Vasquez. And a 2-0 from Tillman. He did go to the fastball and he missed with it again. To count 3-0.
Yeah, he did come right after him with the fastball, but again not close. So he's in a little bit of a rut right now. May not be a bad time to take 2 strikes.
The Orioles ace scuffling here early. And the 3-0. A strike. Barely on the corner.
Yeah, just barely on that inside corner. We'll see how they go here, 3-1. Will they give Vasquez the swing away or make him take one more and run it to 3-2 if he has to?
(3-1) and a ground ball, but softly hit. Scope will scoop it and get the out on the force play to retire the side. So the Red Sox load them up but do not score. Next innings live right after the game. TC and Tim Wakefield will break it all down. You'll hear from David Price and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, and Gary Streisky with you from Fenway as we go to the 3rd inning. 2-0 Baltimore, as that one is ripped but foul by Ryan Flaherty, who leads off the 3rd inning with a long, noisy strike.
First time Flaherty has ever faced Price, and he just jumps on that first fastball he sees. Hooks it foul.
Hitting .223 with 1 home run and 8 runs batted in, and he fouls that one away. He'll be followed by Jones and then Rickert. Orioles getting started with a 2-run homer by Machado in the first inning. And everybody in their lineup, even the guys who don't hit home runs, swings for the fences. Certainly the personality of this Baltimore team. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Pretty good pitch right there by David Price. A fastball looked like it was the top of the strike zone, but not called. Travis Shaw sliding over in the shift.
1-2, a wave and a miss, and down he goes, strike 3.
A good changeup by Price. You know, lefty against lefty. They're not used to seeing changeups from left-handed pitches. It's exactly what he does right there to Flaherty and picks up the strikeout. He's had a good changeup so far in the game tonight.
Lexus is making a pledge to strike out hunger for every K by a Sox pitcher. Lexus donates $50 to the Greater Boston Food Bank.
I know that program is going very, very well because the people over at Lexus of Watertown have told me they've raised a lot of money so far for the food bank, so that's great.
Well, good to hear as Jones gets in. He struck out to start the ball game, and then Rickert singled and Machado homered. The Red Sox have typically done a very good job with this guy over the years. Just a .219 hitter against Boston, but sitting over 300 this year against the Sox. And I imagine some of his very classy comments before the game. Gary Streisky aired those during the pregame show, specifically about Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr. They will be relayed to those guys. He talked about them as the next generation of great ball players. That one is fouled back. Certainly no surprise to anybody around here, but it's nice when opposing players talk about that.
That's exactly right. When your peers talk about you like that, you know, that really makes you feel very, very special.
Gary, he was pretty effusive with that praise.
Yeah, guys, you know, additionally, Adam wasn't really shying away from the fact that, yeah, they're playing hot right now, but eventually there's going to come a stretch where these guys aren't hitting north of 300. I had to remind him that was Jackie Bradley Jr.'s 2014. So he was like, listen, these guys are on top of the world right now. It's all about how they rebound from when they're not on top. So the veteran bestowing the wisdom.
Well, I think he's a guy they'll listen to too. A swing and a miss. He fans. Back-to-back Ks here by Price, who already has 5 in the game.
Yeah, second time he has struck out Jones, and he got him in the first inning on a fastball. This time it's back to the changeup, and again that very good changeup from David Price here early in the ball game. Both strikeouts this inning coming on the off-speed pitch.
So 2 away. Rickert will get in. He singled and scored. He was aboard when Machado belted the home run to right. Looking to bunt, but takes a ball.
You know, Dave, keeping on point with what Gary was talking about, you know, every player in the big league struggles. Every player. Not one is immune to that. And it's how you get out of those struggles, how you bounce back from that. That determines what kind of player you're going to be over the course of your career, because everybody goes through tough spots.
2-0 on Rickert. Well, Travis Shaw's going through that right now.
Yes, he is. And he'll battle out of it. I have confidence in that.
The impressive thing about Travis is his demeanor doesn't bounce all over the place depending on what his batting average is doing. He's not taking that into the field. That slump as that one is pounded in for a strike. The Red Sox very confident he will get out of it. His numbers against lefties are going to have to go up, or he's going to lose playing time, and he's very aware of that. Cut on and missed. He chased that off-speed pitch. Good changeup.
Well, look at the location of the first 4 pitches too to Rickert. Everything away from him. This last pitch to changeup. You can see the first 3 away. Pitch number 4, even a little bit farther away.
So Price a strike away from whiffing the side here in the third inning.
Cut fastball away.
Ooh, just missed. 3-2.
So Vasquez tapping the dirt inside, making Rickett think he was coming inside. Instead, they go to the outside part of the plate with the cutter.
And the 3-2. And in there, he got him. They had him leaning toward the outside part, and he pounded it inside. He strikes out 3 in a row. Having a booth with us, Sharon Meyer of CBS 3 Burlington, the chief meteorologist. We're going to be talking about Fenway Farms, but also spectacular weather in your neck of the woods, obviously in our neck of the woods. But Sharon, is it true that you guys actually got a little bit of snow in the mountains up there?
We did on Sunday.
Just the other day?
On Sunday, there was a little bit of snow mixing in.
Yeah.
It's only happened, I think, 3 times before that there's been measurable snow actually on Mount Mansfield in June. But every now and then something like that happens. We like to brag about it a little bit.
Yeah. Brag, if brag is the word, as Mookie Betts will take one outside. Talk about Fenway Farms here at Fenway Park. You were in for the visit, and the soil they're using there is from Vermont.
It's from Vermont. I'm assuming that's why the garden is growing so well.
It is in great shape?
Oh, it's looking fantastic. And actually, it's growing things on a rooftop is really a smart thing to do because there's nothing but sunshine up there. And in a city, there's not much for pests around. It really is a brilliant idea. And fortunately, I think more and more people are starting to do that.
Mookie lays off that one downstairs. And one of the reasons that they wanted Vermont soil is because it's lighter and it's better for the rooftop?
That's something that you need to pay attention to because certainly it can put an awful lot of weight on it. But of course, depending on how much you water it, that's going to add a lot of weight to it too.
Fly ball well hit to right, but Rickard has plenty of room. And Mookie Betts is over 2, 1 away in front of Dustin Pedroia. So it looks like it's really flourishing there. And you've been doing stories like this for a long, long time.
Charlie Nardozzi and I have been doing garden segments for more than 15 years at least. You know, contrary to popular belief, not everybody's a farmer in Vermont, so we try to do segments to sort of help everybody do it, whether it's just a little container.
I live in New Hampshire. I get that too.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone's got to have a garden, and everybody does, pretty much.
But you can do it on the rooftop. You can do a little container someplace. You know, there's a lot of ways of doing it, even if you're in an apartment in Burlington.
Do you have a backyard garden?
I do. I have a small one. I visit so many other people's gardens. I get a lot of produce from other places, so I take advantage of that.
And this is, you know, a trip to see, you know, the Fenway garden as well. But to see Fenway Farms, but you love coming here. You're a huge baseball fan.
Well, I grew up outside of Boston, so I've been a Red Sox fan ever since I was a little kid.
But you make trips to other ballparks, right?
And I do, yes. My sister lives in Minnesota now, and when she comes out to visit, we always have to go to Fenway. But we've started recently putting some of the minor league parks together. So last year we went and saw a Cape Cod League game.
That one ripped down the line, hooked toward the wall. That's going to be a fair ball. One hopping to Monster, and Pedroia is 2 for 2. A single and now a double here with one down in the 3rd inning.
I think I'm good luck here.
You are. We're going
to
keep you in the booth, but we're going to let you go because I know you want to watch the games. First thing you said when you sat down, I do want to see the game. So Sharon, great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thanks so much. Keep up the good work. Jerry. Sharon Meyer Burlington joining us here inside on a beautiful night at Fenway Park. And that'll send up Xander Bogaerts, who has doubled up his first time, 6-4-3. Although he hit the ball right on the button. Right now, only Daniel Murphy of the Nationals has a higher batting average than Xander, who started the night at .359. He backs away, but that catches the corner. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing on DraftKings now. Play free daily using the promo code NESSN at DraftKings.com. David Ortiz on deck. Red Sox down 2-0. And a strike. Tillman got out of a big-time jam in the 2nd inning. Ortiz led off the inning with a double. Ramirez walked, but then back-to-back strikeouts of Bradley and Young before another walk to Travis Shaw loaded the bases, and then he got a fielder's choice ground ball out of Vasquez, and that was the end of that threat. The 0-2 toward the right side, scooped up by Scope. He'll go to first base for the out. Pedroia into 3rd with 2 away. And now David Ortiz will try and pick up an RBI.
And a pretty good range shown by Jonathan Scope right there, because that ball looked like it might have been headed for the 3-4 hole. Instead, Scope covers the ground and gets you out at first base. You see where Scope's playing and how far he has to go to get to that ball. He's got time to read the label on the baseball and still throw out Bogaerts at first base.
David tore into a double to right his first time as he beat the shift, indicating a bunt, but taking one for a ball.
Now that would have been a good time, wouldn't it? Shortstop Machado way back deep. Pedroia at 3rd base. Anything down that 3rd base line would have been a run. You know, T standing at first base.
He might have stuck with it had it not been a slider.
Yeah.
2 down and a 1-0 pitch to Big Papi. That trims the corner according to Foster. That was a generous strike call. Been a little bit tough to read the strike zone here. Ortiz with 519 home runs, 51 of them against the Orioles. Into the dirt.
Nice play by Wieters behind the plate. A change up, expecting it down low, possibly in the dirt, and catches it generally in pretty good position to make that play. He has to quickly turn the glove over because the ball's so low, and he's able to block it between going through the 5-hole.
Pedroia leading off 3rd, and the 2-1. Way too high. So let's see if David gets anything to swing at on 3-1 with first base open.
I bet David's sitting on something off speed in this situation.
Two 2-0 Baltimore in the 3rd.
Looks like a slider.
3-1 pitch.
It was a slider. It was something that Ortiz was looking for. It was a little bit higher, though, than what David would like. That breaking ball, that slider, you want down around the knees to the thigh.
Crowd wants something to happen here on the 3-2. And foul tipped into the mitt and held by Wieters for strike 3. Once again, the Red Sox with a chance. That goes by the boards. 2-0 Baltimore. Ferris Bueller's Day Off during movie night at Fenway. That's presented by Mitsubishi Electric. Tickets just $10 for adults, $5 for children 12 and under. Go to redsox.com/movie night or call 877-RED-SOX-9. Well, there's the Tech bobblehead. Went to the first 15,000 here tonight.
I notice he also has the eye black on underneath the eyes.
Naturally. The genuine article happens to be here in the ballpark.
You can even see the C to the, or is that part of the mask, the chest protector? I think I see a little bit of the C behind it. The captain.
Machado blasted a 2-run homer in the first inning, and he fouls that one off himself at home plate. I wonder if you're just seeing things here. Was that really the C, do you think?
I don't know. It looks like it might be the C being hitting by the chest protector. Well, I'm not quite sure, though.
I'll be honest with you. It won't make or break my night either way.
No, me either, but I'm just trying to analyze the bobblehead.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a close enough look because no one's delivered one to the broadcast booth, let alone two. We can beg, though. I get people at home that collect those things. I bet you do too. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. And Machado will watch that go.
Actually, I don't. I really don't have anybody that collects them.
You'll give me yours then. I need a whole cart of them.
Yeah, you can have mine.
Christmas come early. 2-2. Roll toward third to his left. Snagged by Shaw. And he'll get him. So Machado now 1 for 2. This greater coverage of Boston baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Most home runs since 2012, and Chris Davis at the top of that list with 175. Encarnacion has been really hot lately with 166. Jerry mentioned it. Toronto is a big winner today. Josh Donaldson had a huge day in a grand slam. They rolled over the Phillies 11-3. Davis about to step in. He struck out looking in the first inning. He had himself a day back in April, on April 11 here at Fenway, where he drove in 5 runs. against the Sox. Let's go down to Gary Streisky.
Guys, real quick here. Breaking news, Jerry. I can't confirm. It is the C. It's either the C or the back half of the X in Red Sox. But see, there's not an R to start Red Sox, so I'm guessing it's the C.
It's got to be.
And it's got a removable mask feature right there that is very nice.
All righty, we have officially crossed the line. Too much information on the bobblehead.
I mean, what would Jason be without a C on his uniform?
Great
right?
point. 1 out, base is empty. Davis with 16 home runs, always looking to hit it 500 feet. On swings like that, and down he goes, strike 3. That is another strikeout for Mr. Price.
Change up again by Price, and David's had a very good change up here early in the game, and again it's one of those lefty against lefty change ups, and those can be devastating. Most of the time left-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers are thinking 2 pitches, fastball or breaking ball away, and then you add in the third pitch, the change up makes it very tough.
Number 7. Now Trumbo, who hit a comebacker to Price his first time up. He really hurt the Sox in Baltimore. And for the year, he's hit 4 home runs with 10 RBIs in 7 games against Boston. Out in front on another good change.
And the Red Sox again in that shift in the infield, remaining in that shift even with 2 strikes on Trumbo. Pedroia over the shortstop side. Hanley pulled way off the first base bag. Butterfield directing traffic.
The 0-2 on the way. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Trumbo 4th in RBIs in the American League. He's also in the top 5 in total bases and slugging percentage. In his first year with Baltimore, having a big year. 1-2. He chased that pitch down into the dirt. Vasquez will scoop, and he will get him. 8 strikeouts through 4 innings, and now Price needs some offensive support. Poll question: if Ichiro Suzuki played his 7 Japanese seasons in the majors, do you think he would have more hits than Pete Rose? Text 1 for yes, 2 for no. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. 1 message per vote. Some controversy in baseball today in that Pete Rose said I mean, Ichiro is about to eclipse him in all-time hits if you combine his hits in Japan with his hits in the major leagues. As Hanley steps in and takes a strike, he said, well, those shouldn't count, those hits in Japan.
I agree. I don't think that. Well, let's say Ichiro played his whole career here, 7 years, and he averaged 200 hits a year, right? He still wouldn't be at Rose's mark.
Down into the dirt. So close to 3,000 hits. There's no question that Ichiro is going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's going to have 3,000 hits in the major leagues in the United States. Pete Rose's point was it's not the same level of competition or pitching in Japan where he got 1,200 of those hits.
I agree with him 100% on that.
I think a lot of people do. Some, like I heard Mark Grace commenting on this, he said it's ridiculous that there's any controversy about him being the all-time hit king, because at any level to get that many hits you should be honored as the hit king, and it's a title that Pete Rose takes very seriously.
Yeah, and should.
Hanley with a walk in the second inning. He is 4 for 24 against Baltimore this season. Right to the third baseman, Flaherty. One man out. Jackie Bradley will be next. And Tillman's gotten into a couple of jams, but he's gotten out of them.
Yeah, this is kind of a typical Tillman game against the Red Sox. He always seems to pitch well against Boston. And you mentioned his off year last year. One of the keys to the Orioles was the fact, could Tillman come back and be Tillman? And he has so far this season.
Right now 8-1 with a 289 earned run average. Obviously it's dipped tonight. Orioles in front 2-0. Jackie Bradley struck out looking in the second inning, so he's 0 for 1. And Chris Young on deck. Sox got a base runner and a single from Pedroia in the first inning, and then Bogaerts hit into a double play. Loaded the bases with 2 out in the second inning, but did not score. Pedroia tore into a double in the third inning with 1 out, but the Red Sox could not bring him in. So there have been opportunities. Winner of this one takes over sole possession of first place in the American League East. 1-1 fouled away. Locked up at the moment through 62 games, including tonight. Exactly 100 left to be played. One-two. Foul tipped into the mitt, and he struck him out for the second time. And there are 2 men out. Right now you can get up to 60 months with no interest on anything at Jordan's Furniture. Furnish one room or your entire home, and best of all, you get to enjoy it right now. Visit Jordans.com for details.
I don't like those baby M&Ms. They don't taste right.
Gorgeous night here at Fenway, but so far very quiet for the Red Sox on the offensive end. Over the helmet of Young with a curveball that did not curve.
And the Orioles go into the shift on the left side of the infield with Chris Young at the plate. Jonathan Scope over to that shortstop side of second base.
Base is empty, 2 down, and a soft one in there for a strike. Very slow curveball.
Yeah, not many curveballs tonight from Tillman. A lot of sliders.
Shaw would be next. 2 balls, 1 strike. Chris Young has homered in each of the Sox last 4 series. So no issues in left field for the Red Sox. Line foul. Hit that one sharply, but he hooked the changeup. So to count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Young. With the overshift around to the left. And the 2-2. Swung on and missed. He looks very sharp tonight. Back-to-back strikeouts, and he gets the Red Sox 1-2-3 in the fourth. On to the fifth inning, 2-0 Baltimore in front here on a first inning home run by Manny Machado. And Matt Wieters will go toe to toe with Price here, who has been outstanding since that first inning. David Price with 8 strikeouts. He has set down 11 in a row since the home run by Machado. And most of those on K's. Flare toward right, headed toward the stands. That is going to be a foul strike on Wieters. He joined Clay and Lindsey Buchholz alongside teammates and celebrities at the Buchholz Benefit Bash on July 7th at the House of Blues. TC will be hosting as country music stars Thompson Square and comedian Josh Wolf performs. Visit ClayBuchholzFoundation.org to get your tickets today and help improve the lives of children in need. Oh, 2 on Wieters. Red Sox have really tied him up this season. He's just 2 for 16 against Boston. That one gently hit back to Price, who will lob on to get him and make him 0 for 2 in this one. So 1 fast out. Scope will be next.
A good pitch by David Price. He kept that fastball away from Wieters, and Wieters with the contact, but tapping it right back to Price. Price threw a little bit of a changeup to Hanley over at first base. Here's a location of that pitch, outside part of the plate, topped. Big high bounce, and then the play and the changeup to Ramirez at first base. That's frustrating for a hitter because you know you're out and you're not even out of the box yet.
Scope goes after the first one and pops it up back toward the netting, and no play for Vasquez. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Boston Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing right now. Play free daily using the promo code NESSN at DraftKings.com. Scope with 9 home runs. So from middle infielder, excellent power. In fact, they are 30-7 all time when he homers. And Price with a 1-1. He would not chase. Orioles in front here 2-0. We're in the 5th. Machado with a 2-run homer, now has 17 home runs. Popped him up into short center. Pedroia racing out. Jackie Bradley with time to get in. 2 down. He keeps mowing them down. Sox fans looking for the best seats to the biggest games. Check out the official Red Sox ticket resale marketplace at RedSoxReplay.com. Best place for season ticket holders to sell their tickets when they can't make it to the game.
Yeah, Dave, we often talk about this time of night, twilight, where it's very, very difficult to pick up those pop-ups and fly balls, but no problem this time for Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field. But they can be very difficult. If you lose it, it's tough to find it again.
Inside ball 1 on Reimold, who whiffed in the 2nd inning.
That look from an infielder or outfielder goes on for about no more than maybe 10 minutes.
That could be a tough 10 minutes, though.
Yes.
Well struck to right, but Betts there. And it's a 1-2-3. That's 14 in a row set down now by the left-hander Price. Care without leaving the ballpark at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, first aid station here at Fenway. That's located behind Section 12 on the lower concourse. Visit bidmc.org. Red Sox in need of some offense. Travis Shaw to lead things off, trailing 2-0 to Tillman and the Orioles. An assortment of fastballs, changeups, curves, and sliders. He's been very tough to hit. Red Sox have 3 hits. Pedroia with a double, Ortiz with a double. In fact, Dustin Pedroia is 2 for 2, but nothing has come of those yet. Shaw, Vasquez, and then Mookie Betts. Mookie will be up for the 3rd time here in the last half of the 5th. Two and 1.
Flaherty, the third baseman, way out in the right field on the grass. Of course, Flaherty used to that position. He does play some second base, so in the shift, he's deep.
Off the end of the bat, popped up on the infield. The pitcher there, and he'll make the play in that unusual position because of the shift on. There was no third baseman, in effect.
I like that, too. You know, we'll see so many pitches shy away from a pop-up, but, you know, pitches are actually very good at catching fly balls because that's what they do during batting practice all the time. And so why not call it? Because look at the shift they're in, and look what Machado's going to come from. He's got a late break on it. Wieters is not going to get there. The pitcher was checking out Wieters, so Tillman ends up making the call and making the catch.
So one away, Vasquez climbs in 0 for 1 in this one. And a batting average sitting at .219. You'd be the perfect guy to ask because all of the years that you played, there was none of this dramatic shifting. Maybe on a couple of guys over the course of a season, you know, a left-handed pull hitter or something like that. But what do you make of it? And how would you react if you were being told, hey, I got to go here, I got to go here, I got to play the outfield?
Well, you know, a lot of the shifts basically put on power guys. It seems like the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them. And what you're hoping to do by shifting, obviously, is play into their strength, which is pulling the ball on the ground, and also trying to make them think about maybe doing something they don't normally do, which might be go the other way on the ground. It's okay if they get a base hit to the opposite field on a ground. They just don't want them pulling the ball with authority. I think it would be very, very difficult as a hitter when you look out there and you got 3 guys clumped up in the spot that you hit it the most. I think it would be, you know, a little bit demoralizing. And then, so what do as a hitter? Do you force yourself to come out of your regular routine and try to hit the ball the other way on the ground? Most guys don't, and I don't blame them.
The 1-2 pitch, and he won't go after that. That evens the count at 2-2. I will say this, though. In recent years, I'd say in the last 2 years in particular, you're seeing a lot more shifts for guys hitting .240.
Oh, yeah.
And .225. And you're
absolutely.
Like, well, who cares? You know, he's not going to get a hit most of the time.
You know, and Dave, you're 100% right with the fact that, you know, it's so, they overshift now so much more than they used to. I mean, it was very rare that we would have a scouting report that say, okay, we're gonna put a shift on this certain guy. It was very, very rare to do that. Now you would play him to pull in the infield, but you wouldn't shift on him, you know. And as a second baseman, personally, if it was a right-handed hit, I didn't want to be at that shortstop side because I didn't trust my arm if I got a ground ball.
Popped into right. Rickard with plenty of time to cover the ground. And there are 2 down. Mookie Betts. And I think that leads to more errors than people realize. When a guy who might have a short arm has to play a position, he's out of position or he's way out there in right field, he may skip that throw, it may never get there in time. I think you see a lot more of that because of the shifts. I
could tell you this, you know, for example, we've seen Pedroia shift a couple of times at the shortstop side. I could speak as a second baseman. I know when I got on that side of the infield, I felt very, very uncomfortable. Now, Dustin's played shortstop before, so maybe he's not as uncomfortable doing that. But for me personally, it was. And to take a third baseman and put him over in a position on the right side, that's going to be very uncomfortable too, because you just don't do that.
Sure.
But I got to tell you, it does work on the psyche of hitters. It does.
That takes them out of their comfort zone. Trying to, you know, David Ortiz we've seen David go the other way a lot more the last year or so, and it's helped his average. But for a couple of years, he didn't do that at all.
No, he would hit right into the shift. He'd just try to defeat the shift by hitting into it, you know, being a shift buster, and it cost him a lot of hits. It didn't cost him power numbers,
right?
But it cost him a lot of base hits.
Mookie 0 for 2. He's popped up and flied out. Red Sox trying to get on the board here, trailing 2-0 to Tillman and Baltimore. Only 5 total hits in the game between 2 of the best offenses in baseball. One of those hits got out of the ballpark to right field by Manny Machado in the first inning. And that is the difference in the game, his 2-run homer.
I think, you know, you bring up a really good point about the shift because, you know, there is so much data available to players and coaches and staffs today with video and, you know, what they see prior to coming into a series with certain guys, the history against certain pitches, the history against that club, that they can pull these shifts now where you didn't have that information before. It was basically
a Trickler, and Tillman will get him. 1, 2, 3 they go. That's all for the Red Sox for the second straight inning against Tillman. They go in order. 2-0 Baltimore. Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. 6th inning, and the number 9 man Flaherty is in. It is 2-0 Baltimore. There's a busted bat and a ground ball to Dustin Pedroia. David Price was looking to get clear of that as it came hurtling out in his general vicinity.
Yeah, that was a little bit dangerous. The broken bat heading out toward Price and the ground ball heading toward Pedroia. Watch the barrel of the bat go out toward David Price, and that scares you. I mean, you're only 60 feet away. Less than that by the time you deliver the baseball to home plate. You watch the baseball, then you see the bat come at you, and that'll make you flinch.
Now Price has set down 15 straight since the home run that Machado hit. He's gotten this man Adam Jones twice on strikes.
You know, Dave, just to get back for one final thought on the shift that we were talking about at the end of last inning and about scouting in the past. Scouting in the past was basically a scout watching a club for 3 games. That was your scouting report on a team. So a lot of it had to be done on memory of what they've done to you in the past. You never saw the starting, you never had any information on the starting pitchers in your series.
Tag to center field. Jackie Bradley racing back to the track, backpedaling. He's got it. 2 down.
You never had any information on the starting pitchers in the series because they wouldn't pitch in the series before. So if you saw somebody new, you'd say, well, what about this guy? They'd say, well, we didn't see him and didn't pitch in the series.
So you're on your own.
You're on your own. You know, so it's amazing how far they have come with all the information they have. You go to the computer in the clubhouse, pull up anything.
Yes.
You can pull up anything you want. And I give credit to the staff, the coaching staffs, because they put hours and hours and hours of preparation into those scouting reports. But it used to be a joke, really. I mean, I give credit to those who did it, but it was some of our meetings were hilarious.
Yep. One advanced scout as Rickard gets in there. And what happens if a guy comes back or 2 guys come back from the disabled list, you know, who didn't play in those 3 games?
It's tough luck, you know, tough luck.
2 down in the 0-1. Roll toward third base. This could be a fast inning. Price gets him 1, 2, 3. He has set down 17 in a row. He needs some offensive help, though. 2-0 Baltimore. Are proud to give back to the communities in which they live and work. Thousands of kids have had the chance to catch a free Sox game thanks to Dunkin' Donuts. Tonight we welcome the Boys and Girls Club of Waltham to historic Fenway. Dunkin' Donuts committed to the community. Red Sox coming to bat here in the bottom half of the 6th inning and down 2-0. Score's been frozen since the top of the 1st. Dustin Pedroia has a perfect night going though with a single and a double. Came in hitting .326 lifetime against the Orioles, and he's at it again against the Birds. 1-1.
You know, we talk about players being creatures of habit, superstitious. We got a great shot to show you a little bit when we have a chance of Flaherty at third base and Pedroia at second base in the synchronized movements that they both have. It's pretty good stuff.
The 1-1. Big hack and a miss.
Watch Flaherty at third and watch Pedroia at second. 1 hop, 2 hops. Dustin's taking a lead, and the other guy, Flaherty's playing defense, but they do the same thing. It's a 2-hopper.
One, two, and that is in there for strike 3. A very tight slider to catch him looking. Chris Tillman's pitching line brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. So far he's allowed the Red Sox only 3 hits. And none of those to Xander Bogaerts yet. Xander's hit into a double play, 6-4-3, and he's also rolled out to second. Coming off a 10-for-15 series against the Twins. One of those changeups, he'll throw it at any time. A's Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Sox tickets with the best seats at the lowest prices with a 200% guarantee. Treat yourself or someone special by visiting aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Routine play, Machado up and over. 2 down.
And Machado really has a strong arm. You know, we're accustomed to watching him at third base where he's got an absolute bullet from third base, but now we're seeing it at shortstop also, and the quick release of that ground ball at first base is very impressive by Machado to get Bogaerts.
What a luxury for them to move him from third, where he was a Gold Glover, to shortstop, where he's playing like one. With the injury to Hardy forcing him to play shortstop, and he's been terrific there. Big Papi with a double and a strikeout tonight. 2-0 Baltimore in the 6th inning. Let's get out of Gary.
Guys, we've seen the wheels from the large father himself on full display specifically this season. I just wanted to point out a slight modification of a little bit of assistance Ortiz is getting from his cleats. Namely, he has stock New Balance cleats that anybody can get off the shelf anywhere. The only difference is when we take a look at this picture here, the designers at New Balance, they actually slope the heel because, of course, we know Ortiz has battled Achilles injuries and Achilles issues throughout his career. So sloping the back heel of that cleat actually alleviates some of that pressure, which when you're the only member of the 40-year-old club, you can use all the help you can get.
So that's why he's been flying.
There you go.
I tell you, man, don't those shoes look comfortable today? I mean, they really look like comfortable shoes.
Mm-hmm. Just like the ones Jerry used to wear.
Oh man, they were horrible.
David taking his time. He got time from Foster, the home plate umpire. Now, Tillman is over 100 pitches here in the 6th inning. Fouled back, so the Red Sox may not get him tonight with the bats, but the pitch count might.
They may, and it may come down to the Baltimore bullpen in this game tonight. You're right, 103 pitches right now for Tillman. And I don't think anybody would be sorry to see him leave this ball game.
2-2. He was out in front. Down he goes. Strike 3. Gets the Red Sox in order. Well, today marks the U.S. Army's 241st birthday. USAA honors those who served in the Army and all of our service members around the world. On to the 7th, and Machado swings at the first pitch and grounds a foul. He has homered and also grounded out, and he's the last man to reach in this game against Price. That was in the first inning when he belted a home run.
A 2-run shot and a fastball away from him right down the right field line.
Since then, David Price has retired 17 consecutive Orioles. Hammered foul. Don't miss the CVS Health Charity Classic Benefit Concert featuring Lady Antebellum at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence on June 28th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Charity Classic Fenway. So as the heart of their order, Machado, Davis, and Trumbo all home run threats. And Baltimore with a 2-0 lead into the 7th. And the 0-2. Poke foul.
Dave, while we got a chance, down at our first base camera level is Bob Tomaselli. He and his wife Nancy are celebrating their 47th year anniversary today. Congratulations, Bob and Nancy.
Wow.
47 years. And what's he doing here? Why is he not to dinner?
That's the question. I mean, how do you stay married for 47 years when on your anniversary you're working?
That's why you're still married, probably.
She loves Bob's dedication to the art. Waved at and missed. That was a very slow swing by Machado. Make it 18 straight retired by Price.
Yeah, that's almost like Machado was looking for something other than a fastball, because you're right. That was a very late swing by Machado. You don't see him get a fastball throw by him that often like that. He's had to be looking something else. A changeup, cutter.
And that was a swing underwater for him. 9 strikeouts for Price. Now the overshift for Davis, who has struck out twice and has now whiffed 86 times in 221 at bats. And Price with the 0-1. Davis tied with David Ortiz for 4th in the American League in home runs. With 16, the man on deck, Trumbo, his 20. The 1-1. High fly down the left field line. That one headed for the corner, and it'll sail into the stands. Stay tuned for Red Sox Final, presented by Plainridge Park Casino. TC and Tim Wakefield will preview Stephen Wright's start tomorrow against the Orioles. Wake was chatting him up in the clubhouse before the game. They had a long conversation. Goes in 7-4 with a 2.09 earned run average and a dandy against the Twins his last time out. He really has been the Red Sox best pitcher. Here's the 1-2, and he struck him out for the 3rd time, and he sets down his 19th man in a row.
He struck him out 3 times tonight. The hat trick, once with a fastball and twice with the changeup. That was the changeup that time, down and just a little bit out of the strike zone, but chased by Chris Davis.
Strikeout number 10 for Price. Now, the last time he struck out at least 10 men was the 12th of May against Houston, when he punched out 12. Ground ball behind third, a sprawling stab by Shaw, but it'll have no play, and Trumbo will be on with a base hit. And that ends that streak. That ends that streak at 19 straight retired by Price. We take a closer look at tomorrow's pitching matchup, Wilson against Wright. This closer look is brought to you by FW Web. Selection, expertise, solutions, more at FWWeb.com. So Trumbo on with the infield hit.
Even with the shift on and Travis Shaw close to the line, he's able to backhand this play, but once he falls over like that, he had no chance at first base. So he keeps the ball away from the corner for a 2-base hit. but cannot get the man at first base.
Wieters fouls this one back into the radio booth, and the play was not made. I am sorry to say, it looked like Tim Neverett had a chance. Hit him in a bad spot.
Yeah, it did, right in the hands, right?
We'll say this, Lou Merlone working next door was not helping Tim in any way, shape, or form. The 0-1 is waved at and missed.
I think the point I'd like to make there, Dave, is that what is Doug Lane doing? I mean, anyway,
looking for it.
The point I'd like to make is usually ex-players don't go after foul balls because what's the point in it? I mean, you've already made a lot of catches in your life, and why go after it with the bare hand when you can probably break a finger, you know, do stuff like that. Now, my understanding is, and I might be wrong about this, but did you take one off the face on the last homestand?
Not the face. That's a bad rumor. That's a really bad rumor. I want to clarify that. I took it right off the hands.
Yeah.
And kind of bobbled it, got it off the table. It wasn't a catch, and it wasn't that graceful, but it wasn't off the face.
It wasn't off the face.
Did you hear that it was off the face?
Yeah.
That's a terrible rumor. I don't know who started that. I think X started that. Backhand stab by Ramirez, and that will end the inning. One man left. The Red Sox have been held to 3 hits so far tonight. They trail 2-0. Of our Dunkin' Donuts poll question. If Ichiro played his 7 Japanese seasons in the majors in the United States, would he have more hits than Pete Rose? Jerry, you didn't think so, but 61% of those voting say yes.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by those results.
I mean, when he first started with Seattle, he was getting 262 hits.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Obviously slowed down a lot, but he's crawling to 3,000 in the United States. As Hanley starts it, he has walked and grounded out to third. 105 pitches from Tillman, but their bullpen is not active at the moment. 2-0 Baltimore in the 7th inning. Bradley on deck, and then Chris Young. Tillman's been superb. Hanley is overdue. Sitting on 4 home runs for over a month. And the 1-1. That's a strike.
We keep making pitches like that against Hanley. You're not going to hit many home runs, that's for sure. That's nasty. Fastball outside corner. Good pitch.
Tillman has gone 7-0 over his last 10 starts with a 2.62 ERA. If he wins tonight, he'll go to 9-1 on the season. One-two to Hanley. High fly right field, driving back Rickard on the run. He has room and he makes the catch. Time for a game break, brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Here's TC. TC, thanks. Great to have you back. One man out. That's 12 in a row set down by Tillman. So he has a nice streak going, similar to what Price had. Now Jackie Bradley trying to solve the right-hander who has struck him out twice. And he starts him with strike one.
Now he's starting to get that curveball over for strikes. Early in the game he was not being thrown for strikes, but it has been over the last few innings. So he's got all his pitches working for him.
In for a strike.
Doubles up on the curveball, back to back, same spot, away from Bradley.
So he's had 110 pitches. The next one will be his new season high. To center field, dead away, turning around Jones. It's sailing. She's gone. Jackie Bradley has the Red Sox on the board with his 11th home run of the season. That makes it 2-1 Baltimore.
Well, we talked earlier in the game, Dave, how not all mistakes are hit, but this one was. Ahead in the count, no balls and 2 strikes, and way too good of a slider here to Jackie Bradley Jr. To Jackie's credit, he makes the contact and takes it out of the ballpark.
Sounded gone, didn't it?
It certainly did. There's the breaking ball. It's got too much of the plate. No balls and 2 strikes. So that quickly, a 1-run game.
And that quickly, their bullpen is active for the first time tonight. That brings up Young, 0 for 2, 2 Ks. Tried to hold up and did not, according to Mark Wegner. Speedway, proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience. For every Sox homer this season, Speedway donates $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Stop by a Speedway near you, pick up your Speedy Rewards card, and start earning points today. The 0-1 to Young, who's been on a home run binge. Travis Shaw up next. The Red Sox within 1. They get Gibbons, the hard-throwing right-hander, going in their bullpen. Fly toward right center, moving over Rickard. He'll put that away for the second out. And Shaw is next, trying to dig his way out of a slump. He has walked and popped up to the pitcher in this one. A David Ortiz Gnome giveaway night is coming up on the 21st of June. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/promos or call 877-RED SOX 9. So Tillman stays on. Buck Showalter trying to get him through 7 full innings. He has now allowed 4 hits. Price has only allowed 3. Bases are empty in the 0-1. Toward the middle. Is that going to squeak on through? The scoop, the fire, and safe at first base. Let's see if Buck Showalter wants to challenge this.
Well, the advantage of being a left-handed hitter, you're that much closer to first base, and Shaw needed all of that. Very nice play by Machado as he covered a lot of ground. The off-balance throw now. Does Shaw beat it? I believe he does. Ooh, wait a minute. From that angle, it looks a little different, doesn't it?
Always does with the second angle.
Yeah, it certainly does.
They still haven't given word if they are going to challenge it.
From that angle there, it looks like that ball's in the glove of Davis.
Waiting and waiting on this one. Ruled an infield single. And they have decided they are not going to challenge it.
That's a break right there, I think, for the Red Sox. We'll see.
Vasquez will be the hitter. He's 0 for 2. See the range on Machado.
And the athleticism to be able to get in a position to make a throw like that.
Yeah, a pretty good throw. 2 down, man on, and a run in. 2-1 Baltimore in the 7th. See if that turns into something here against Tillman. It's at least going to make him throw more pitches. And there's ball 1. And Betts is on deck. Red Sox had to rally from 4-1 down on Sunday in Minnesota, and they did. They tied the game, forced it to 10 before losing on a home run. Trying to rally tonight from 2-0 down, now 2-1. And flick foul. Two runs and only 3 hits for Baltimore. 1 run on 5 hits for the Red Sox. Last time they met at Camden Yards, it was all about home runs. Tonight, it's been all about pitching. Here's the 1-2 from Tillman. And he popped it foul out of play. Jackie Bradley Jr. with a home run to center field with 1 out here in the 7th as the Red Sox on the scoreboard. Finally. This is Tillman's 120th pitch. Punch to the right side and a nice scoop there by Davis, and that will do it. That retires the side. The Red Sox settle for the 1 on the homer. Go to the 8th, 2-1 Baltimore.
Studios, representatives from Aetna were at Fenway Park today presenting a check for $40,000 to Boston's Healthcare for the Homeless program, serving more than 12,000 patients a year across 60 locations. Today, Aetna and Fenway Park also sending a message of hope after the tragic loss of life in Orlando and calling for Red Sox fans to show their support. The Red Sox standing with Orlando tonight, flying a rainbow flag above Fenway and the American flag at half-mast. Aetna's family hurting from the loss of several members of their team in the attacks in Orlando. They're sharing in prayers for healing, hope, and the acceptance of all people. Aetna stands with Orlando and the LGBT community.
Well, back to live action, and Schoop going after the very first pitch by Price here in the 8th inning. Hits one completely out of Fenway for his 10th home run of the season, and that's their second home run of the night, and they lead it 3-1.
That's now a 5-game hitting streak for Schoop and a big home run. They want to go inside. The cut fastball stays out over the plate and out of the ballpark against David Price. So it's been 2 home runs that have been his nemesis tonight. A 2-run home run by Machado to the opposite field, and that ball just staying out over the plate, and the home run by Schoop. So the Red Sox get one back, give one up.
And brings up Nolan Reimold, who has struck out and flied out to right field. So 3-1 Baltimore. Price has had some great stuff tonight. At one stretch, he set down 19 in a row before giving up the infield single to Trumbo, and then he got Wieters to ground out to end the 7th inning. But Schoop got all of it. For the Sox in the bottom half of the 8th inning, it'll be the top of the order: Betts, Pedroia, and Bogarts. And that should be against the Oriole bullpen. Little trickler foul. Givens had been warming up. David Price's pitching line is brought to you by Ace Ticket. With just 87 pitches. Very economical for all those 1, 2, 3 innings from the 2nd through the 6th when they never got a base runner. 2-1 to Reimold outside, but he chased it.
Now that pitch has been consistently good for Price all night long. That changeup, done a good job keeping it away from right-handed hitters and also throwing it to lefties.
Tillman's had an outstanding night. He's had an outstanding run. That one in there for strike 3. That catches Reimold. He fans for the 2nd time.
I saw Vasquez set up inside. That ball stayed middle of the plate though, but still called a strike by the home plate umpire. See where Vasquez is set and watch where the pitch goes, right over the plate, but clearly in the vision of the home plate umpire, makes the strike call, which he should.
So that's 11 Ks for Price, and sends up Flaherty, who has struck out and grounded out to 2nd. Left-hand hitter out of Portland, Maine. Flaherty with a little bit of power. He's only homered once this season, but he hit a home run at 5 different positions last year and started a game at 6. So they put him on wheels. One ball and 1 strike. 1 out, bases empty. A run in thanks to Schoop. Those are the 2 home run hitters tonight. Machado got his in the 1st inning. Schoop hit his in the 8th, and that'll be low for a ball. Stephen Wright on the mound tomorrow night here in Game 2 against the Orioles. He goes in 7-4 at 2.09 ERA. And Eduardo Rodriguez will pitch on Thursday against his former team. And the 2-1. Fans, don't miss NESN Live weekdays at 5:30. Catch all the latest news for your favorite New England sports teams. NESN Live presented by Cross Insurance. Adam Jones on deck. Now, this is the way, Jerry, the Orioles have been winning games all season long, with the long ball, and they're out in front here 3-1.
And better pitching than they expected, I think.
Tillman really emerging as a true ace for them. He's bunting and he flicks it foul. 3-2.
Not a bad idea by Flaherty. You know, they go into the shift when they count goes in the hitter's favor of 3-1. So that left a lot of green on that left side of the infield. Tried to find some of it, but fouled it off. Even squared around, almost like a sacrifice attempt. Still couldn't get it in fair territory.
So full count. And the 3-2 to Flaherty. High chopper. Pedroia charging in, has it and gets him. 2 down. And up to the top of the order now, Adam Jones. Yeah, the home run ball is what they live and die with. They're #1 in the American League. They've hit now 101 home runs. Sox have hit 78 as Hembree begins to limber up. They hardly steal any bases at all. They never run. They've only stolen 11. That's dead last in the majors. This Oriole team. Here's Adam Jones, who used to run a bit. He has 1 stolen base all year. They want to hit that 3-run homer. Jones has hit 11 of them. None tonight. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He hammers that one foul. And Robbie Ross has been really good for a string of outings. Will join Hembree in the bullpen. Baltimore in front 3-1 in the 8th. Price is tossing a 4-hitter, but he's behind by 2 runs. Now Price out in front of Jones. Been a good player for a long time. 0-2. He's been on the American League All-Star team 4 years in a row. Two strikes on him. And that will just miss at 92. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jones had a chilly series in Toronto just before coming to Boston. He went 4 for 18 against the Blue Jays, who are really starting to roll. They won big today, 11-3 over the Phillies, after winning 3 straight against these guys. They pulled within 2.5 of the lead. Fouled away. You knew that was only a matter of time before Toronto would really start to get going.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected them to be, you know, a bottom tier ball club in this division. Most people picking them to be the best team in the division at the start of the season, and they are starting to get on that roll, as you mentioned, Dave. You know, scoring runs like we know they can, pitching better. And you see 2.5 games out coming into tonight's action because they won today.
Here's the 1-2 to Adam Jones. That'll get through for a base hit. So he's on here in the 8th inning. Second hit in the frame against Price, along with a home run by Scope. We'll bring up Rickert, who has gone 1 for 3 with a base hit. He was on in the 1st inning in front of Machado, who homered down the right field line. So got the night off on the wrong foot for Price, and the Red Sox have been chasing all night. Now trailing 3-1. Hits are even at 5. If Price can get through this inning, it'll be the 2nd start in a row he will have gone 8. Also did that in San Francisco on the last road trip. He starts him out high, ball 1 at 93. Price trying to bring down that ERA, and he's been able to do that a little bit tonight. His career ERA is 3.09. He's posted 6 consecutive sub-350 ERAs going back to 2010. Right now it's closer to 4.5. Cross for a called strike. Machado is on deck with Jones aboard at first and 2 down. Price now over 100 pitches. One pitch. That'll miss.
Fastball tonight's been good too. It's averaged around 93, 94 miles an hour for the most part in this game tonight. The last one at 93 and up over 100 pitches now.
Bullpen still very active for the Sox here with 2 down in the 8th. Price is 2-1. And he fights that one off foul on a changeup.
Yeah, that's a pitch tonight he's been able to use at will. The changeup. Whenever he wants to throw it, he's had a good one.
Price named to 5 All-Star teams in his career, including the last 2. In fact, he was the winning pitcher last year in Cincinnati. The 2-2 to Rickard. Pedroia there. He'll toss to Bogarts for the forced play to retire the side, but Scope gets him for a home run, and that opens up a 3-1 lead for the Orioles. NESN Sports Today, we have a one-on-one with David Ortiz, and you'll also hear from LeBron James as the Cavs get ready for Game 6. That's tonight after Red Sox coverage of NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Sox are running out of chances, and the Orioles are going to bring on the hard thrower Michael Gibbons, a right-hander, who is #1 on their staff out of the bullpen in strikeouts with 44, and can really bring it. Orioles in the lead here in the last half of the 8th inning, 3-1. As Betts hits a high chopper over Flaherty. Mookie's heading for second. Reibold's throw is not in time. A hustle double. That's a jolt.
Yeah, the Red Sox certainly need something to ignite this offense. Maybe that'll be it. One big bounce off with the head of Flaherty at third base. And Mookie Betts, when he sees it going down that left field line, he's thinking about two. Now, that was a good job by Nolan Reimold to get over there and get that ball back in. But Betts, just with too much speed, has the leadoff double. That was a slider that time that he took on one bounce over the head of Flaherty at third base.
Thinking about two as soon as he saw that get up and over Flaherty. And we'll send up Pedroia, who has singled and doubled. He's gone 2 for 3 tonight. Showalter's looking at something inside his dugout, but he's thinking about challenging something. So Pedroia trying to pick up an RBI here and get the Red Sox a little bit closer. 3-1 Orioles. And the crowd has come to life for the first time in a while. In for a strike at 96. Bogart's on deck. Their closer Britton is loosening. High fly right field over near the pole. There's Rickard with room to make the play in fair ground. Tagging up Mookie Betts. He scoots down to third with one away.
At a close ball game like this, if you gotta make it out, advance a runner, and that's exactly what happens here. There's Betts getting a secondary lead. Then he reads the ball's gonna be caught down that right field line, so he tags and moves up to third base. Here's Mookie going back to tag up once he knows Rickard's gonna catch it. No problem getting to third with his speed. So the Red Sox can quickly get a run back, infield back.
Yeah, they'll concede that run on a ground ball in the infield. Xander is 0 for 3. He backs off and it's inside. David Ortiz is up next. Runner at third base and one away. 3-1 Baltimore, 8th inning. Tillman went the first 7. He allowed only 5 hits and 1 run. 1-1.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. You know, you go fastball 97 to slider 86. There's the breaking ball on the second pitch. Supposed to be away. It stays inside, but off speed enough to fool Bogarts.
The 1-1. 1-2 now.
Slider again, that time away, down and away from Xander. Left the first one inside, second one outside, and down and out of the zone.
1-2 pitch that time would not offer. The Red Sox loaded the bases in the second and did not score. Got a double by Pedroia in the third inning, but could not bring him in. Now Betts standing at third base in the 8th inning with 1 down. And a 2-2 pitch to Xander. He lets it go for a ball. So the count is 3-2. Now Givens was about to deliver, but Xander got a time from Foster to hold him up. The 3-2. And he walked him. And that'll bring up David Ortiz and bring out Buck Showalter. And he wants his closer right now here in the 8th inning against Big Papi. So Britton is coming on. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Kia. Back with more in just a moment. Alan Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. LL Bean, discover gear that lasts at LLBean.com. And by Plain Ridge Park Casino, the official sponsor of winning. Well, the Red Sox are trying to rally to win tonight. They're down 3-1. Zach Britton coming out of their bullpen, their closer. David Ortiz is 5 for 17 with a homer against him lifetime.
Yeah, if you're thinking about a home run, Britton has only given up 1 so far this season. But we are thinking about the home run.
Naturally. Ortiz has hit 16 of them. Runners at first and third, 1 down. And he'll take a strike. 98. And according to Foster, on the corner. Britton, one of the hardest throwers in the game. David Ortiz tonight playing in his 1,000th game at Fenway Park, including 34 postseason games. And Britton with a 1-strike pitch. 0-2.
That's what makes him so nasty. He throws hard, 98, but did you see the sink on that fastball right at the end? I mean, that's what makes him so difficult. Watch this ball dip.
Ortiz this season with 4 home runs against Baltimore and 9 RBIs in 7 games. And Britton with the 0-2. And he gets him on 3 pitches.
Yeah, that is nasty. I mean, that's the same pitch, 98 with sink to it. Even a little bit more on the 0-2 pitch. Now, he only threw 3 pitches in that at bat, and we'll take a look at him. Fastball will start him off away. That's elevated. Now you go to the sinking fastball for pitch number 2, and another sinking fastball for pitch number 3 at 98 miles an hour. So it was challenge time, but the movement on those pitches was incredible.
That was filthy. Ortiz striking out for the 3rd time in the game. So now they're 2 down for Hanley Ramirez. And if ever there was a time for Hanley to bust out, this one he's walked, grounded to third, and fly to right. The average sitting at 266. Betts led off with a double. He's at third. Bogart's at first. 0-1. That one 97 at the bottom part of the strike zone.
You know, it looks so enticing because when you see it, it's up about thigh high. When you swing at it, it's below your knees.
Very little to go on for Hanley. Just 1 for 3 against Britton. And the lefty's 0-1. Will not be made. Tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. Red Sox president and CEO Sam Kennedy will join TC live on Yawkey Way. Two down, 2 on. 3-1 Baltimore in the 8th inning. And the ball is the first one he has missed with since coming out of the bullpen. Jackie Bradley Jr. has provided the Red Sox their only run tonight on a home run to dead center in the 7th off Tillman. He's on deck if it gets that far. Up the middle, base hit. Betts is in to score. And this is a 1-run game. And Ramirez with his 35th RBI.
Well, you got to see the difference in location. I mean, it's the same pitch. It's a fastball that sinks, but it starts out higher. And when it sinks, it's in a good spot for Hanley to hit. Right up the middle for the base hit, 99 miles an hour. But most of them he's been able to keep below the knees. That time he stayed above the knees, and it became a hittable pitch.
Makes it 3-2. Now lefty with Jackie Bradley climbing in. 1 for 3 with the home run and also 2 Ks. Bogarts at second, representing the tying run here in the 8th. And it's outside for ball 1. Chris Young next. But it's Bogarts at second, Ramirez at first, with 2 down. Britton has that hit right back at him and gets him at first base. So the Red Sox get a little bit closer as we go to the 9th. 3-2 Baltimore. To victory. Manny Machado with a 2-run homer in the first inning off of David Price, who has now departed the scene after 8 very, very nice innings. But in the first inning, he connected down that right field line for a 2-run homer, his 17th of the year. Paving the way to victory is brought to you by U.S. Pavement, the nation's leading pavement service provider. So it's out of the 9th inning. It's tightened up here, 3-2. Red Sox down by a run. Kimbrel is coming out of the bullpen from Machado, Davis, and Trumbo. So John Farrell will bring his closer in, down a run here at home. And the first one to Machado, inside for ball 1.
At home, that's when you generally see the home closer in the ball game, trying to keep that score at 3-2 and give his club a chance in the bottom of the 9th.
And they'll be bringing their closer Britton out for another inning, as that one is sock foul out of play. Machado, one of the 11 strikeouts that Price garnered tonight. He didn't walk anybody over 8 innings. Had outstanding stuff. He had 1 run where he struck out 4 out of 6. That one was flared foul out of play, and he also had a run of 19 straight that he retired.
And we're looking at a couple of guys closing games right now, finishing games here, that throw very, very hard. 98 miles an hour. We saw Britton with the sink on his fastball, and now Kimbrel, of course, also at 98, more straight fastball, and of course the breaking ball.
1-2, swung on and foul, tipped to the mid. He struck him out.
You know, you almost can't help yourself. When a guy throws that hard and he throws it high, you see it well, but you can't hit it. And it's so tough to lay off. People say, well, why do you swing at pitches like that out of the strike zone? Because it just looks so good. It's high. It looks like you can hit it. But it's just too much velocity.
So Kimbrel with his first K in the book. May have another one coming here in Davis because he has struck out 3 times tonight. He starts him off with a breaking ball in there for strike 1. Boy, if Price were to drop this one, it would be a second consecutive tough loss. Red Sox are not scoring very much for Price. High and tight near the shoulder. You're going to know that's there.
Yeah, that's one that you don't have much reaction time to. Ball leaves his hand, and all of a sudden it's up around the dome, and you got to get out of the way.
Here's the 1-1 on the way, and that missed inside. Of course, Price coming off a 2-1 loss, a complete game for David. He went 8 innings, allowing just 3 hits. Red Sox didn't get him much support at all in San Francisco. Start before that against Toronto, which was a 5-2 loss. It was 3-1 when he left the game after 7. Inside again for a ball on the fastball at 99, but 3-1. Trumbo on deck. 3-2 Baltimore here in the 9th. Sox have due up Young, Shaw, and Vasquez scheduled to hit in the bottom of the 9th. 3-1, a shattered bat pop up. Easy play for Bogaerts. A little jump there to snag that for the second out. Tuesday at 9:30. Don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU. TC and Tim Wakefield will preview Stephen Wright's start against Baltimore. DCU is Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Now Trumbo's gone 1 for 3 with a base hit on the infield. He has grounded to the pitcher, struck out, and singled. The #1 home run hitter in the American League with 20. He thinks about that with virtually every swing, doesn't he?
That was a bail and whale swing right there. Bailing out and wailing. Look at the body go down that third base line while back on his heels and then swinging at the breaking ball. Hoping to catch one flat inside.
That is nasty. Another curveball.
You might want to stay with that pitch because look at Trumbo's body. Look where it's going. It's not in there at all.
It's almost in the dugout. 0-2.
Once again, the breaking ball.
Oh, yes, he tripled up on it and he got him. He strikes out Trumbo. Red Sox need 1 to tie and 2 to win as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Red Sox baseball on Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Bottom of the ninth inning, 3-2. The Orioles have their lead. And Chris Young will lead things off. Travis Shaw to hit behind him. In all likelihood, he will not bat against the left-hander. Vasquez may not either. That's in there for a strike on Young, as Rutledge has now popped out, and he's ready to bat for Shaw, who is 6 for 42 against lefties. Young 2 strikeouts and a fly to right tonight. And a strike over the inside corner on the slider puts him in the hole 0-2.
That's the first slider that Britton has featured since coming in the game. It's mostly been 98-mile-an-hour sinkers.
And the southpaw with the 0-2 to Young. 3 runs on 5 hits for Baltimore. That's it, just 5 hits for the Red Sox. 2 runs on 7 hits. Jackie Bradley has a home run tonight. The Orioles have hit 2. Machado and Scope have gone yard. The 1-2. Check swing. They do appeal and no swing, says Wegner. 2-2.
Take a look from the side, and a good call by Wegner down at first base. No swing.
And Britton with a 2-2 offering. 3-2. Koji in case. A full count on Young. He is 2 for 4 against Britton with a double. Cut on and missed, and down he goes, 97 miles an hour for the first out in the bottom of the ninth. Time now for our tools of the trade, presented by Stanley.
Well, look at the last 4 strikeouts of the game for David Price, and a mixture of his changeup, which is right there, to the fastball on a very toddy swing by Machado. Back to the changeup to Davis. And a fastball right there to Reimold away.
Stanley, the official tool of the Boston Red Sox. Price with 11 Ks tonight. But will that be in a losing cause? Rutledge hitting for Travis Shaw, batting .271. He's in a slump of his own right now, however. He's 0 for his last 15. A strike. Britton still throwing very hard into his second inning out of the bullpen. 3-2 the Orioles with 1 down in the ninth. One and 2.
Again, the disappearing act on the fastball. That time 97 miles an hour, and that time dipping down and out of the strike zone.
Rusney Castillo is on deck. He'll hit for Vasquez. One-two pitch, and he struck him out. Back-to-back Ks.
Not only dip on this pitch, but movement away from Rutledge. That's pretty impressive stuff right there.
98 miles an hour, whether it's in the strike zone or not. A lot of movement. Here's Rusney trying to run into one. Red Sox are hoping to catch some lightning in a bottle here. Bases empty, 2 down, bottom of the ninth, trailing by a run. And strike 1 at 98. Well, he's just pouring it in.
He's thrown 1 breaking ball since coming in the game.
Zach Britton with the 0-1. And cut on and missed. Quickly 0-2. If the Orioles take game 1, they take a 1-game lead over the Sox in the division. Stephen Wright on the mound tomorrow. 0-2 on Rusney Castillo. And here it comes. He missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Both starters were exceptionally good tonight. Chris Tillman just a little bit better. 1-2 home. And he gets him. The Red Sox go down in the 9th inning very quietly. 3 strikeouts by Britton. And the Orioles take game 1 here 3-2. And TC take a 1-game lead in the AL East heading into game 2 tomorrow.